What's good, ladies and gentlemen? And I am here once again, not with great news. Definitely not great news. You'll oftentimes see articles like this from News 24 and Daily Investor and all the rest of them. These articles, because most people only read headlines, they go, oh, wow, the Rand is doing amazingly well. I guess these tariffs from America really isn't having much of an impact. However, when you actually drill down and you look at it, the Rand isn't doing well because the Rand is doing well. The Rand is just doing well because the dollar isn't. And the dollar isn't doing well because what Trump is embarking on is something that investors, at least in this lifetime, has never seen. Investors don't know whether or not this is going to be successful, and investors are waiting to see what the actual results from an economic standpoint will be. They won't abandon America. They will go back as soon as they see America flourishing again. They will return. Like, trust me on this, right? If America doesn't flourish, that might be a different story, but America is still the largest economy in the world. That's not going to change anytime soon. Currency value is also a very bad indicator of economic power or economic strength. So keep that in mind when you see articles like this one. The other thing that I despise is when financial outlets focus on things like share prices as if that matters. Shares is nothing more than speculation. It's how much is the next fool willing to pay for this bullshit that I hold. It doesn't mean anything to the ordinary consumer because the ordinary consumer will never eat a share, nor will most people even own a share. So looking at shares means nothing. You have had times in the US where the US economy has actually done very, very poorly, but the stock market was soaring. Just before the financial collapse in 2007, the stock market was at an all-time high. If you just looked at the stock market, you'd say, wow, we're doing incredibly well. The truth, however, is far, far worse. You start looking at it and you realize, whoa, Ford is cutting jobs in South Africa. Why is Ford cutting jobs in South Africa? If you listen to Solidarity, they say we see this announcement as possibly the beginning of greater job losses facing the entire automotive industry in South Africa. When an automotive giant like Ford takes such drastic steps, it is a warning to the entire industry. We fear that further retrenchments in this industry may be inevitable if conditions do not improve quickly. So why is Ford cutting jobs? They're no longer making money. With the 30% tariffs now placed on South Africa hitting Ford, there's no point, right? And they're cutting jobs because they desperately need to make money. Otherwise, just close the factory and then even more thousands of people lose their jobs. When you look across the board, Truworths shares plunged more than 6% on weak results from core South African operations. What does this tell us? If you look at the actual results here, you find the company reported retail sales growth, a relatively muted 2.7% to 22 billion rand for the 52 weeks ended 29 June 2025. You might say, well, but they're growing. No, they're not. That entire growth is completely cancelled out by the depreciation of the South African rand. The weakness of the rand, the weakness of the economy, the fact that prices are continuously increasing, that means that Truworths most likely, in the real sense of things, suffered losses. You look, for example, at this. This is from Truworths themselves. Late deliveries of winter merchandise in the prior period due to port congestion and global shipping disruptions, combined with the delayed onset of winter in 2024, dampened seasonal demand. As a result, elevated markdowns were required in the first half of the current period to meet terminal stock objectives. So the government, once again, completely to blame for all of these problems. Mining companies in South Africa, in fact, one of the largest mining companies in South Africa, Sibanye Stillwater, they're losing money. It's bad news all the way through. And then when you look at Daily Investor, they had this article on the 26th. Investors are losing patience with South Africa. Everything you're seeing in South Africa, the stock market being up, the rand doing relatively well, it's all still part of the euphoria that investors want to feel following the GNU. You'll remember that it was investors that told us the GNU is perfect. The GNU is the perfect idea. We need the GNU in South Africa. The reason for it is they were hoping that the DA would be able to exercise a positive effect on the economy and that the economy could actually start to grow. Since the inception of the GNU, we have seen job losses in the number of 74,000 jobs were lost in the first quarter of 2025. It's probably going to be even worse when we get the next results. We've seen the economy contract to its lowest ever with just 0.1% growth for the term. And that's probably going to get even worse. We've seen electricity prices skyrocket. We've seen job losses. ArcelorMittal, which is the only long steel producer in South Africa, have now announced that they are closing all of their long steel production, which will amount to thousands of jobs that will be lost in just from ArcelorMittal, not from even all of the other companies that is related and down the chain or up the chain from ArcelorMittal. So we're seeing the slow we're seeing the snowball start, right? This is just the first. I predict that within the next year, we're going to see this speed up. We're going to see more and more companies come out posting major losses. We're going to see companies restructure. The problem in South Africa is there's not much room to restructure. A lot of these companies are going to have to let a lot of people go, and we're already a country with massive unemployment. If we suddenly start posting massive unemployment numbers every single quarter as businesses just can't keep hold of their workers, and we start seeing more and more economic decline, all of these rand gains that everyone is going on about, all of these stock market gains that everyone keeps going on about, that's all going to reverse, and it's going to reverse hard because South Africa's fundamentals are rotten as a result of a terrible president, Cyril Ramaphosa, and a party that has their head so far up their own backsides that when they take a sniff, they think that's just how it's supposed to smell. They don't understand why everyone's complaining because that's all they've ever smelled since at least 15 years ago. We're in for a bad time. That's the point of this video. And I hate to be the one to constantly make you guys feel bad. I promise that's not the intention. I would love to cover something positive within this country, but there's nothing. Let me know in the comment section down below how you guys feel about all of this. Not even the rugby is good, man. Like, hopefully we can pull it together with against New Zealand. But yeah, let me know, please, in the comment section down below. Massive shout out and thank you to all of the patrons and the YouTube channel members that allow me to do what I do. It's oftentimes truth and honest conversations doesn't get a lot of clicks because it's not clickbaity. But thanks to your financial support, it allows me to at least bring you the news that matter. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Then a massive shout out to all of you. If you like what I do and you want to see more people reached with the news and the conversations that I bring, please consider hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and leaving a comment because engagement truly does matter. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace.